All right, everybody. So this isn't going to really be a Blade review. This is going to be more of my personal thoughts on what I think about self-defense knives. Now, I know I did a very similar video on this. I was talking about something pertaining to self-defense knives and why I personally choose them as something that I my go-to. Everybody's different. But due to current things, especially discussed with some close friends of mine, I came to a more wiser conclusion um, that I kind of I want to talk about in this video. So let's go ahead and talk about that, everybody. So let's talk blades and self-defense. I don't know if I should. I'm keeping that. Whatever. You know what? It's kind of a gray area. And it's a bit cringy to talk about self-defense knives. A lot of people aren't into using a knife for self-defense. There's so many other ways you could go about this. There are people that do CCWs, concealed carry, firearms. There's people that walk around with less than lethal things also. So you're talking about, tactical pens, pepper sprays, tasers, impact tools, Kubotans, stuff like that. And all that stuff is fine. But the main thing I want to talk about is should you or should you not carry something for self defense? Now, typical civilian, a lot of people that I know don't usually carry anything for self defense. If they do, it's probably something they leave in their car, in their purse, in the back of their pants pocket, and it's nothing too crazy or even intimidating. Usually it's something simple like keychain, pepper spray or mace, or taser, a small taser. I would, once in a while, I'll see somebody carry a pocket knife. I always look at pocket clips, especially on older gentlemen that have their pocket clips on the side of their pockets. So I'm always checking out to see like, oh, hey, that guy's got a Spyderco. Hey, that guy's got a Kershaw. That dude's got a Benchmade. And it's really cool to see that there are knife people out there. And most knife people have knives for tools. They don't normally use a knife for self-defense. And that kind of raises the question, how often are you in a situation where you feel you need to reach for a self-defense tool, whether or not it's a gun or a knife or a pepper spray or whatever? Realistically, if you're paranoid, you would be carrying what you're comfortable with. And my best suggestion is, like I said before in my past video, a good pair of running shoes. You got your cell phone, and you need to practice verbal judo. And what do I mean by verbal judo? I'm talking about ways to de-escalate a situation, to talk yourself out of a situation, or altogether use common sense and avoid being in situations where your life is being threatened. Now, of course, there are times when that is unavoidable. You're backed into a corner, you can't talk yourself out of it, or it happens at random and you're being robbed, whether it's at gunpoint on the street or even at your very home. And people are either breaking into your home or they're right at your front door and you didn't even expect it, and they have a gun in your face. Now, realistically, those things do happen. They don't happen as often as you would think, because I know that in my lifetime, I've been robbed twice. Both times it was just me being out and about. And I gotta tell you, all it takes is once for you to really consider being a little bit more prepared. But how you do it, I guess, really matters. And so The last time I almost got robbed, police officer told me that the best thing I should carry is pepper spray because it's less than lethal. It won't have me in cuffs later on in the situation. It's just going to look a lot better for you. Cool thing about pepper spray is that you can keep your attacker at a distance, and that's a high advantage. You want to be able to keep your attacker at a distance. And that's important for you to get away. That's important for you to avoid being hurt. And of course, sometimes pepper spray isn't always the great idea because there are people that have built a tolerance to pepper spray. Heard stories. I've even heard stuff from police officers, people that are hyped up on drugs who are going to come at you. Nothing will stop them, not even a gun. Police officers have told me there's even YouTube videos where you can see a guy get shot 7 times and he's still pursuing the police officer coming at him. So, of course, there's many different scenarios that can play out in different ways. And it doesn't matter how much training you have. It doesn't matter what you know. Real life scenarios don't play out the way that you want them to. So you have to be able to work good under stress. You have to be able to have a steady mind, and you have to be able to have the wisdom and consideration of your surroundings. You got to have situational awareness. There's so much that you have to have. And I mean, a lot of it's common sense, but also a lot of it is stuff that not every average person knows how to do. So my best suggestion is carry on you what you feel's the best. So on this table right now, I have a few things that I normally carry. Now this is considered a tactical knife because it's got a glass breaker here. It's got an assisted mechanism. So it's got a little spring in there that causes the knife to fire out of the handle. But it's not considered a switchblade. Obviously, it's just an assisted knife. Now, to a police officer that doesn't know any better, this could very simply be considered a switchblade, but it's not. It's just an assisted knife. But this could still land you into trouble. I got a knife right here that's meant for self-defense because when you look at it, this isn't something that you would just carry for everyday use. This thing is huge. It's got reach. It's got a big handle. It's got good grip. It has teeth on the blade. This is something that you normally would either see somebody cut rope with or cut people with. Very big, very intimidating, but it gives me a hell load of a lot of confidence when I carry it. And of course, the dagger knives Vendetta, very nice and spear pointed. It's got reach, but the thing about a self-defense knife that you have to understand is that you have to be in close proximity to your attacker, and you have to be able to understand that you are pulling out a weapon that is lethal. You're not going to just cut him a couple times to get him off of you. You're going to probably end up taking the person's life if you pull out a blade. Now, why do I say that? No one takes out a knife just to, poke and prod and just be like, okay, get off of me. When you take out a knife, you're going to use your gross motor skills to get out of that situation, and you are probably going to do a lot of damage to that individual. And that's not going to look good. Now, of course, same thing goes with a gun. You're not just going to take out a gun and, shoot him in the hand or in the foot and be like, all right, buddy, bad boy down. No one acts like that. You pull out a gun, you're going to use it for lethal purposes. You're not just going to be like, couple warning shots. Now, step back. Of course, there are people out there that probably might do that, but you don't. It just sounds ridiculous, but I mean, some people think that it's okay, to use a lethal weapon and think that you're going to get away with it. It's going to come with a lot of repercussions. It's going to come with you being taken away in cuffs. Now, regardless of whether or not you honestly used it in self-defense, that's going to be determined by the courts. It's going to be determined by a judge. It's going to be determined by whoever's looking at it and really, really dissecting the entire event. I would only pull a weapon if I know my life is in danger and I'm going to fight like hell to make sure that I survive. Or if I need to protect whoever I'm with, knowing that they're probably going to die, then yeah, if my life or someone else's life I care about is in danger, I'm going to fight like hell. But I want to do it in a way that's reasonable and responsible. And of course, does anybody think about that? No, nobody thinks about that. You go about your day doing whatever you need to do. You don't expect to be mugged. You don't expect to be robbed at gunpoint. You don't expect that to happen, but it does happen. Now, unfortunately, I live in an area where crime is kind of a normal thing. I work in a place where people have been robbed in parking lots. I knew personally a couple of friends who have been robbed at gunpoint by two individuals just passing by in a car late at night while they're out in a cigarette break. They had to give up everything. Now, is it worth your life to pull out a weapon to try and combat that? No. You do exactly what you're supposed to do because it's not worth your life. That stuff can be replaced. You can't. But if you're fighting for your life and you have the ability to reach for your self-defense weapon, then by all means use it if you know that your life is absolutely in danger and you know for sure that you're in high risk of losing your life. That is your very last option. And I always stress this out to people, like, you need to make sure that if you pull your gun, you pull your knife, that you're doing it in a self-defense manner, that you're doing it in a responsible, like, there's no other way around this situation. I have to. And I'm not trying to sit here and be like, no, it's really cool to. No, it's not. You're taking a life. That person, that individual is a human being. Regardless of whether or not that they're good people, because obviously if you're being robbed, obviously this person probably isn't a good person. But in all likelihood, this person's messed up. This person is a family member to somebody else. This person is a friend. This person is somebody who's known by other people some way, somewhere. And you are removing that person from the existence of this world. So now I'm just preaching to the crowd. Everybody knows this. But the thing is a lot of times when somebody carries around a big scary knife, it's mostly due to, and it's about like 80%, it's due to just having it as a scare tactic. You bust it out in the hopes that it's going to scare your attacker or at least make them think twice before pursuing you any further. Most of the time, people are gung-ho. You pull out a knife, all that's going to do is piss them off even more. If they like what they see, they might even try and take it from you. If they're going to rob you, they're going to tell you to give, all that stuff to them anyway. Or if you're just plain stupid, you're going to pull out a knife in a gun fight. That's not going to work. You never bring a knife to a gunfight. Hear this on movies, and it's true. You don't. If somebody's got something bigger and badder than what you have on you, you're already screwed. Follow their prerogative, do the best to cooperate, and go home. That's the whole premise, is you want to be able to at least go home that same day. You don't want to be stressed out with having to deal with being in cuffs because you decided to do something stupid or be dead. So depending on the situation, I suggest you carry on you something that is less than lethal, especially if you do not have the proper training. And carry something on you that makes you feel comfortable enough because you have a good mindset of how you would be able to use it. So my suggestion would be pepper spray or a taser. Now, I know to a lot of guys, that's not the most masculine thing to carry. You want to carry like a gun or a big-ass knife or something cool like that. Grow up a little bit. Because you pull out a knife, you better use it. You pull out a gun, you better use it. The thing is that if you do use it, you are going to be in and out of the courthouse, and you're going to go through some stressful crap for a decent amount of time. Or you could do some jail time, depending on the situation. So what you do really does determine your outcome. What you carry and how you use what you carry really does determine the outcome of the situation. So do I suggest you carry a knife for self-defense? If you know how to use it properly and you're responsible enough, sure. But that comes, like I said, with a heavy consequence if you do end up using it. So think twice about whether or not you should, and try to go with a more wiser decision. More recently, this is my pepper spray. I carry this on me all the time. It's in my backpack all the time. This is going to be my first go-to. I do carry a knife, but it's nothing scary like these. I try not to carry anything big and scary because that could be a weapons charge on me. Say an attacker tries to do anything with me and, I reach for something wrong and I end up pulling out my knife instead of my pepper spray, or maybe my pepper spray didn't work and I pull out my knife and that's the final thing that scares him away, but he does a police report on me telling them that I'm the attacker. So then now they're like, "Oh, this guy's got a big knife and this other dude didn't have anything." It's just so many things you got to think about, so many things you got to take into great consideration. So police officer was telling me, he said, the best thing for anybody to carry right now is pepper spray because, it doesn't need to be charged like a taser. It keeps your attacker at a distance and it's less than lethal. Spray him with it and it gives you the ability to get the hell out of there. Assuming that you spray the person correctly. Because sometimes if you miss and you don't hit the face, well, I mean, yeah, you can hit him in the neck, in the, in the chest area, which will still suck because they get it on them. They're still going to be coughing, depending on if that person's going to be hyped up on anything. It might not even phase them. But it gives you the ability to have that split second where you can get the hell out of that situation, call the authorities, and be able to at least go home to your family that same day. You pull out a weapon like a gun or a knife, you don't do it with the intent to use it, but you do it in the intent to scare them away. But all it does is, provoke them even worse, making the situation worse. That's another thing you got to take in great consideration. Whatever you carry on you, be prepared for the possibility of it being used against you, especially if you're outnumbered. Now, why do I say that? If you're being jumped by a group of people and it's bigger than your number, be prepared to know that you're probably going to lose whatever is on you. So unless you got a gun in those trousers, all you have on you is a folding knife or whatever, well, and you're getting overburdened by multiple attackers, well, guess what? There's a possibility that item is going to be gone or used against you. So you always have to keep that in mind. Just because you have it doesn't mean that it's going to protect you, especially if you don't really know how to use it. So a lot of people are like, "Oh, I'm just going to get a knife." Well, if you don't know how to use that knife in self-defense, how is it going to benefit you if you don't even know the first thing, because if you're stressed out and you try to pull out your weapon and you fumble with it, it slips out of your hand, it falls on the ground, well, guess what? You just lost your means of protection. So you have to undergo the proper discipline mentally to be able to handle a situation like that, because you can watch videos on it, you could do a little bit of training, but when it comes down to the actual event, hesitation is something that's going to happen in all of us, especially when like, oh, this is real. Like, this is happening now. What do I do? And not everybody's got that type of mindset where they can just be able to, at the drop of a hat, go into the proper fight and flight mode. But most of the time, it's unscripted. So it's not something that you're going to be 100% prepared for anyway. So my best suggestion would be to carry something that's, it might not be intimidating, but it might be effective in making sure that you are going to look better in the situation rather than worse. So most people who think about this stuff or even talk about it don't really care. They'll just carry whatever the hell they want to carry on them, and they'll just deal with it when they, it's kind of like, we'll cross the bridge when we get to it type situation. And that kind of mindset, that's very noble, but it's also a little bit irresponsible as well. So everyone's situation, everyone's living situation is different. Everybody is, area where they live and work is different. But know that it's possible. And Anything can happen at any point, any day. You won't even know. It happens at random. You're a target instantly. My best suggestion is practice being a gray man. If you don't know what that is, it's basically try to be less of a target. So, anyways, that's just kind of my discussion. I think I've hit my limit here. Go ahead and add in the comment section what you guys think. I'd love to hear your thoughts on this situation. Now, this is basically just a heart-to-heart. This isn't exactly a Blade review, but I thought that it'd be really cool to talk about something like this because in all reality, it's something that you have to take consideration of. It really is, and not a lot of people think about this sort of thing. So it's kind of good to exercise that sort of thought, food for thought kind of thing. So anyways, go ahead and slash that like button, stab that subscribe, slice that bell icon so you guys are notified anytime I post new stuff in these craziest of times. Everybody, please be kind, be safe, carry responsibly, and I'll see you all awesome people in the next video.